Hi, I'm Kelsey from roughandtumblefarmhouse.com, and today I'm going to share with you some of my favorite books for your little homesteader. So if you're watching this video, I'm assuming you either want to add some great books to your own homestead library for your kids, or maybe you're looking for a gift to give that family of homesteaders or small farmers in your life. I have 6 books I'm going to share with you today. Some are ones that have been favorites since I was little, and some are new family favorites for us and our little girl. So to start, we have Big Red Barn by Margaret Wise Brown. The pictures are by Felicia Bond, and this is a board book. This book I absolutely love because the pictures are just stunningly beautiful. And my favorite picture, I think, is this one that is of a little pink pig who is learning to squeal. And I just love the idea of a little happy pig practicing his squeal or her squeal every single morning with the sunrise. I just think it is so cute. And this story is just about the animals at the Big Red Barn, and you get to meet all the different animals, and you get to see chickens and eggs and counting eggs and cows, goats and donkeys and little puppies all round and warm. And it's just a sweet book that if you have a little toddler, it's great to go through and look at all the different animals and practice their sounds, and also has little small details like little hidden butterflies on the pages and things that your kids can look for. So this is a really great one. Margaret Wise Brown is one of my favorite children's authors. I think she has over 100 books that are out there, and a really fascinating story if you're interested in learning about her as an author at all. That's a Wikipedia page I recommend checking out. Next is one that has been a favorite of mine since I was little, that is called Only the Cat Saw. This is written and illustrated by Ashley Wolf. I absolutely love Ashley Wolf's illustrations. You might know her artwork from the book Baby Beluga. It's probably one of her more famous ones. So Only the Cat Saw follows the story of a family that lives on a small farm, and as they go about their daily life, rather than kind of keeping track of what they're up to, you get to see while they're busy making breakfast or feeding the baby or going to the bathroom, whatever it is they're up to, you get to see what only the cat saw while the cat is on adventures around the farm. The pictures in this book are just beautiful. They all kind of have a really warm tone to them, which is lovely. And again, you've got beautiful images of small farm life, which is great. And it also has a really cool picture too of a mom nursing her son, which my mother told me she got this when I was, again, little, and she was in the Leche League, and she said back in the early 90s, having a image of a mom actually nursing their baby in a children's book was pretty rare. So it's something that's really cool and something that I even think about when I nurse my own daughter. I think of that picture. Next on the list is Sonias Chickens. This is written and illustrated by Phoebe Wall. Phoebe Wall is hands down my absolute most favorite artist. She has just gorgeous, gorgeous artwork that she does, and it all really shows kind of rural, small farm, homestead type life. And if you haven't seen her artwork before, please go check out her website. This isn't sponsored or anything, but Phoebe Wall, if for some weird reason you're watching this, I would love to do any sort of partnership with you ever because your artwork is amazing. So anyway, this story, Sonia's Chickens, is about a little girl who lives on a farm or a little homestead with her mom and her dad. And her dad brings her home 3 little baby chicks, and she takes care of them, and she's a wonderful little chicken mama and raises them up to be beautiful hens that start laying eggs, and then a fox comes to the chicken coop and takes one of her hens. And so she sits with her papa and learns about why the fox may have taken one of her chickens and just kind of understanding the cycle of life and death. And it really honors, her chicken's life and helps her to understand why it could have happened and helps her to not be mad at the fox, but to just look to the future and take care of the new little chicks that start hatching at the end from her chicken's eggs. So it's, again, beautifully illustrated, and I think if you have a little chicken keeper at your farm, this would be a great book to have on the shelf. Next on the list is Home Sweet Home. This one is written by Jean Marzolo and illustrated again by Ashley Wolf. So Ashley Wolf did get 2 titles in here. This book I really like because it is very simple. It starts out with "Bless each bee, each flower and tree." And then as you go through the book, it begins at a little homestead tucked away in some beautiful valley somewhere. I like to think it might be Vermont. I've always wanted to go to Vermont, but haven't made it there yet. But it looks like what I think Vermont might look like to me. And so it starts on this little homestead, and then on each page is just kind of a different little blessing and a little thing to give gratitude for plants and animals and parts of our earth that are just so beautiful. And I love this story because the pictures are big and bright, and my daughter really loves looking at each individual animal And another great thing about the illustrations is as you look deeper, there are a lot more details and kind of finer things that as your child develops more, you can start pointing out and talking about or naming or discussing. So it's a really beautiful story, gorgeously illustrated, that just helps you and your children to take a moment and give thanks for all these really amazing creatures and plants that we share our home with. Second to last on the list, but definitely not even close to least, is a book called Thunder Cake. And Thunder Cake is written by Patricia Polacco, I think is how it's pronounced. I'm not positive. I was just introduced to her books actually by my mother-in-law. She has been a special ed teacher for many, many years, and she really likes Patricia Polacco's books. And so we got some for our daughter. This story takes place on a farm. The author lived on her grandmother's farm for several years when she was a very young girl. And in this story, as a young girl, she is scared of a thunderstorm. And so her grandma says, okay, well, then we need to make some thunder cake. And so you go along with the grandma and her granddaughter and also some Nubian goats, which is so fun to see. Nubian goats illustrated. We raise Nubians, and you don't see them in picture books very often. And so the Nubian goats kind of tag along and pull little carts as they have to go and collect eggs from the chickens and milk from the cow and things from the larder and a special secret ingredient from the garden to make this thunder cake. So when the big thunderstorm finally hits, they have a really delicious cake that they get to eat. So the illustrations are kind of whimsical and charming and sweet, and I really, really enjoy this book. Last but certainly not least is Oxcart Man, and this is written by Donald Hall, and the pictures are by Barbara Cooney. And this is a book I actually discovered, I think I was probably a teenager when I came home from school and flipped on the TV and Reading Rainbow was on, and I will still watch Reading Rainbow as a 30-something woman. I love Reading Rainbow. And so I was watching Reading Rainbow, and this was the book that they featured, was Oxcart Man. And I was just completely transfixed by the story. Because as I was watching and listening to it, I was just thinking, oh my gosh, this is exactly how I want to live my life someday. So this was a very influential book for me as a young person. So as you look through this story, it begins in October with the Oxcart Man and his family, and he is packing up his ox cart that he has built, and he's packing it up with all these things that his family has made over the last year. So from splitting wood into shingles and carving brooms and weaving and knitting and collecting down from the goose feathers and growing things in the garden. All these things the family packs up in the cart, and he walks it all the way to Portsmouth and then sells the items and uses that money to buy some lovely little gifts and tools for his family. And then he comes home, and then you follow the family through all the seasons as they tap maple trees and shear sheep and all sorts of things. And so the illustrations are really cool, and just watching a family living so close to the land and seeing how they live with the land each season. And it's just a really beautiful, really fun story that is very sweet. And this one's a little bit advanced for my daughter at this point, but it's the one we like to look at from time to time. So that's it. Those are my favorite children's books for homesteaders or small farmers. I would love to hear if you have some favorite titles we're always looking to add to our homestead library. Please go ahead and comment below and share with everybody so we can just be a great resource for each other. Thank you as always for watching. Always appreciate if you like, subscribe, share. We always have a new video here on YouTube every single week and 2 new posts over at the blog roughandtumblefarmhouse.com about farming, family food, and fortitude here at our Rough and Tumble Farmhouse.